The April showers have come. The Mayflowers are here. The flowers, not the boat. You get it. It's time for the best of BGG.
What's up, everybody? My name is Nick.
I'm Mike.
We are the Brothers Murph, and we are back with another Best of BG, as Mike so eloquently just told you.
You heard it there.
You heard it here, folks. We're back for the Best of BGG. We got some news, we got some Murph Picks, and of course, we're going to talk about the hottest games of the month. Let's start with the news. A bit of Board Game Geek news is that it is Golden Geek time, baby. This is the Golden Geek Awards where you, the people, get to vote on your favorite games of the year, the most innovative game of the year, two-player game, card game, all these different categories. It's a really, really cool thing. I love awards. Everyone pretty much loves awards. And actually, you are the ones who get to vote on it. So it's super, super cool. The nominations are open right now, so you can go vote on those. Follow the link down in the description below to do that. It's really, really cool. And then very soon afterwards, the winners will be announced, which again is always very, very fun. So make sure to vote and get out there and nominate those games.
This is quite possibly my favorite time of the year, the time where the Artist Series comes out with Board Game Geek. There's going to be a crowdfunding campaign for the Artist Series again. As of this recording, 3 of the prints have been released. We have Heat, we have Catan amongst the others. Oh, I get genuinely excited for this because the art is just so awesome, and it's usually doing an interpretation of art from a game that already has awesome art and stuff. So I love seeing what people come up with. How are they going to put a spin on the kind of vibe of a board game? So this is your chance. If you haven't had the Board Game Geek Artist Series to this date, look at all the years past. There's been amazing covers and things, posters that have been coming out for years now. So you can catch up, get the new stuff and all that in the upcoming crowdfunding campaign. Pardon me, I'm just so excited. And check in with Board Game Geek every day to kind of see the teases and the reveals of this year's series as it's coming out. Go cast those votes, everybody. That is the news. We have the hottest games to talk about, though. Can't forget that. So let's head right down to these chairs behind us and talk all about it.
Alrighty, you know what time it is. It's time to talk about the hottest games of the month. People are talking about these games, clicking about those games. There's some stuff from crowdfunding. Let's check it out. All right, number 10 has been number 10 here for a couple months because it's always just right in the hotness. And this is going to be Seti, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligences.
It is a mainstay.
It's like in the top 20 on BGG already.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the top 10 considering how far it's gone already. So it's Seti. Seti's really, really great game that we quite enjoy. Where you are searching for extraterrestrial intelligences, and you will find them because there's always going to be 2 different aliens. I almost said monsters. 2 different aliens. They're not really aggressive.
They're just unfamiliar to us.
Yeah, exactly. So you are trying to find these alien presences. You're doing that by kind of getting these various traces of them, basically.
Yeah.
And eventually throughout the game, you will discover them. And then all of them are going to work a little bit differently. None of them are going to be big game-changing ones because you don't really want to change the whole game halfway through it.
Yeah.
But little tweaks, little things you can go on, little things that you can get points for, all this different kind of stuff. It's just really, really fun. I like Seti because each individual action that you can do in Seti is pretty darn simple.
Yeah, it all kind of builds up into this bigger thing.
Yeah,
but
how you do your actions, what order, how you prioritize stuff, that part gets very, very deep. But it really falls under that kind of Castles of Burgundy thing where it's like the game itself is not that complicated.
Yeah.
But the strategy and stuff can get very, very deep. I like Seti a lot. You like Seti, Mike?
I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah. Next going to be Lairs. This is my kids' table board game.
This has been popping up lately. This has been getting some momentum.
It seems cool because this is a game, this is a concept that I've seen a couple games try but it doesn't always work that way. I think that game like Keeper of the Questar had a similar one, but this is basically a 2-player game where you're like making a lair for your opponent to have to go through.
Yeah, making a labyrinth that they must traverse.
Exactly. There's gonna be like traps, there's gonna be treasure, there's gonna be all sorts of stuff. But while you're doing that, they're also making a lair that you're gonna have to go through, and then you're kind of going through each other's lairs simultaneously. I love that concept for a game.
It's awesome.
And I feel like there's been a couple games that have tried it, and they've always been like decent, but like I've never liked them quite as much as I wanted to. So I'm really excited to try Lairs because I'm like, is this gonna be the game that kind of like is in this very weird specific niche that I've really wanted to see in a board game? And I really hope so because it seems cool, and I like KTGB a lot.
Yeah, they do really cool stuff, and I agree. I think the concept is really fun, and if you're interested, there is a game night episode on it where they kind of play 2 sets together, so it's making it into a 4-player game. It's a 2-player game by kind of normal design that can be expanded. And yeah, KTBG has a good reputation, and it's been getting solid reviews and stuff. So this is one that's like kind of nice where word of mouth can really kind of help build things up, and you're kind of seeing that reflected in the hotness. Next up is going to be a game called Yotei.
Potatoes.
This has got potatoes in it. Yes,
potatoes.
You are bidding and spending potatoes in Japan and stuff, and you are building out this tableau of cards that are going to have kind of forests and mountains, and you're building out this tableau that are going to be in kind of cards in different tiers. So you're going to have your kind of tier 1 cards that are fairly basic. You're trying to earn charm points in the game.
Love it.
They're probably not going to have a lot of charm and stuff to them, but they're going to give you the kind of baseline that you need for those higher level cards, which are going to have prerequisites of like you have to have 2 forest cards or a forest and a mountain card in order to play this. And there are some cards that are going to cost potatoes. And you need to have them in hand to pay, or there's ones where you can actually bid on them. And what you do is you have a little potato case, a little crate.
Yeah, it's a cute little crate. It's awesome. Yeah,
adorable and stuff. And you will put some potatoes or bluff if you feel lucky, and put it onto a card. But then other people can also do the same and bid on that. And those cards will only go to the player who bids the most potatoes, and everyone else will get their potatoes back, of course. So you are kind of going out with your markers, claiming cards. Other cards will give you potatoes and things like that. You are trying to earn these charm points via the cards you play. It's just got like a really cool art style, and I think it's in the Hokkaido area of Japan. But one thing that's really cool is there's these like those crates are made of wood and stuff, but it's all locally sourced and crafted wood from people in that region of Japan, which I think is a really cool kind of initiative. Like, hey, this is local, this is handmade, and taking care with that I think is really neat. On top of a game that's literally trying to be charming. You know what I mean? So I think that's why it's kind of captured people's attention in the hotness lately.
Next up is going to be Brass Pittsburgh. Brass Pittsburgh had a very successful crowdfunding campaign the last month.
It was.
My gosh, did it make a lot of money. They're like, oh, you want iron clay chips? I want iron clay coins.
Yeah, iron coins.
Iron coins. Nonetheless, this is Brass Pittsburgh. This is the 3rd installment in the Brass series. Will there be a 4th? I don't know. I hear they're working on the 9th currently. We don't have any information about
doing Brass Six Flags next.
Oh, gosh, I love Six Flags. That's a local theme park, if you don't know.
That's a nationwide theme park.
That's true, nationwide, yeah. But no, Brass Pittsburgh is set in Pittsburgh during kind of the Industrial Revolution, and it's very brassy. So if you know brass, you know Brass Birmingham, Brass Lancashire, this is still going to be like 85-90% the same game. So if you like brass, chances are you'll like Brass Pittsburgh. If you don't like brass, you probably won't like Brass Pittsburgh because it's, again, mostly the same game. But the difference is it still has the brass nature where the first half of the game, you're putting out your stuff, and then a bunch of your stuff's going to come off the board.
Big scoring mid-game.
And then you put stuff back onto the board. In this case, now there is oil. The oil is kind of like the beer of this one.
Yeah. You're going to have to use it to do those cell actions.
Yeah, those big cell actions. Yeah. You're discovering like oil these various areas. You have to put out like pipelines to get that oil onto your various trains. There's not canals and trains because we're not in Birmingham, who has a bunch of canals, more canals than Venice.
Pittsburgh has a lot of rivers, but not really a canal system.
Exactly. And so so you're getting stuff in the market, you're putting resource on your buildings. Hopefully those resources get off those buildings so you can flip them. Yeah, it's a lot of brass stuff. Although it's really, really pretty. The cover particularly, and there's like alternate covers.
Yeah,
the campaign was nuts. Go check it out. It made so much money. Oh my gosh.
It reminds you of like, I guess Brass Birmingham is the #1 game for a reason. There's a lot of people who like it, and that was reflected with like the new campaign. Yeah. How well that did. You're like, oh yeah, I guess that does check.
Yeah, it sure does. Another one is another kind of mainstay here, and this is the Fellowship of the Ring, Lord of the Rings: The Fate of the Fellowship. My apologies, which I think actually just hit the top 100.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Which I think it's gonna.
Surprised.
I think it's gonna keep going.
Yeah.
People, again, we were talking about this. I think last month during the hotness, we're like, man, this is just one of those games. It's just like kind of like Seti. It's just been like parked
into the
in the
hotness.
hotness. For a long time, it was like Dune Imperium and Lost Ruins of Arnok.
Yeah.
Were like parked in the hotness for like literally like 2 years straight.
Yeah.
Arc Nova was parked in the hotness for like more than that even.
Yeah.
Now it seems like Seti and the Fate of the Fellowship are just like in the hotness the whole time.
I mean, it's a pandemic system game. So it's a cooperative game. You're working together. It uses kind of the action point mechanism from pandemic and then sort of the escalation of the game, which is fighting you. And it puts it into like a really cool theme where the stakes are very real. Similar to like the original pandemic, you felt the stakes in that game of like, oh, this is affecting the entire world, and now we're affecting all of Middle Earth and these characters that we love, and being able to inhabit them. It does some really cool things to kind of, forge its own path and have some uniqueness to it, where now you have 2 characters you're controlling, and you'll get most of your actions with one and a little bit with the other, and choosing which character is kind of your main character for the turn. Really, really cool. The kind of system of bad guy cards and using the backs of the deck the card to see like what of the 2 actions you're doing, so it's a little less predictable in terms of what bad things are going to be coming your way. It's just really dynamic and awesome. And again, great theme to use.
Yeah, it's kind of like you took a lot of the stuff from Pandemic Fall of Rome particularly. It's a lot like with the way the troops move around. It's like, it's kind of like a greatest hits of Pandemics in a lot of ways, where you're just...
The final form, maybe,
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure it won't be the last one, let's be honest. But, gosh, it's just so much fun. I love Fate of the Fellowship so much. Still never won it. Very bad at the game. Gotten very close multiple times, but gosh, first time we played this with like Link and Nikki at BGG Con. So much fun. I love Fate of the Fellowship. It's probably going to be here for a little while because it's very, very popular. Next up will be the Old King's Crown. This also had a very successful crowdfunding campaign that did very well. This is one of those games that like did well the first time on crowdfunding, but there's been a couple games like this. I feel like Wonderland's War, Thunder Road Vendetta, where they had successful crowdfunding campaigns and then they hit people's hands.
Yeah.
And then the kind of word of mouth started after that about how good this game is. And then the second campaign was like way bigger because a lot of people now, this is their chance to get the base game. And of course, there's an expansion. And that very much is the case, seemingly, with Old King's Crown. Yeah. People were excited about it. It has a really great art, which is done by the designer. It's one of those like wearing all hats kind of situation.
An auteur kind of
so incredible
moment.
But then it hit people's hands, and the word of mouth got out how good this is and how much people were liking it. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone was playing it. So in the second campaign, it went like that, which is really, really great for it because it's just such a cool thing. But yeah, this is kind of like War on steroids.
Yeah, super duper War.
Yeah, where you're flipping over a card, comparing them, and that's the whole game. Nothing else.
There's nothing else to it. There's these 3 kind of conflicts you're going to have every round, and you're going to be committing cards to those conflicts in secret. And you're all starting off with like similar cards, but you'll be able to get some uniqueness as you go. And you're deciding kind of where to put your supporters to add extra strength to regions. There are these kind of counselors you can put out to change some of the rules of the game. These people you can send on journeys and stuff, on and on and on. There's these like very powerful cards you can bid on each round, and those can be stolen and stuff. So there's just a bunch of fun things you can do. It's a very conflict heavy game. But like this, game really taking off is, I agree, like really cool and inspiring and exciting to see that like word of mouth matters. If you have something that's really, truly great, people will find it and they will start talking about it and will get that kind of love that it deserves. And so this is one where I'm like, yeah, you deserve all your success. Like you had this unique idea, you had a vision for it artistically and mechanically, and then you executed at a high level. And so it's just very, very cool to see how successful it's been. And I imagine it's going to be around in the hotness for quite a while.
Probably. So I don't know how, but somehow we forgot to talk about number 4. Our apologies. So you're just getting me. Mike's not even here. You're just going to get me for this one. This is going to be Eternal Decks. Eternal Decks we talked about before here on the hotness. Eternal Decks is a really, really cool game. And like the Old King's Crown, which we just talked about, this is a game where the designer also did the art for the game, and the art is very, very cool. This is this I guess, campaign game. There's a bunch of different scenarios. I guess scenario is probably a better way of putting it. In the game where you are going to be working together to try and get through this scenario. And each of these scenarios is going to have kind of different rules. The first scenario, you're going to be essentially trying to get these little diamond pieces. And these diamond pieces, you can get a couple different ways. You are going to be putting out cards into these 3 kind of rows. And those rows are all going to have a specific rule. So like 1 will need to be going ascending, one will need to be going descending, and 1 can kind of have anything. But there's always these general rules that are usually applied in most of the scenarios. And those general rules are that you can't put the same number next to each other in these card rows, and you can't put the same color next to each other in these card rows. So you're working together and trying to put cards in these rows, because when you finish putting cards in this rows, you're going to unlock a new deck of cards. And these deck of cards are essentially going to give you more life, because your cards are your life in the game. If you ever run out of cards and you can't play a card, everyone loses. And so when you get to the end of these rows, you get to unlock one of these kind of Eternals in these decks, and you get a new influx of cards. But only the person who finishes the row gets those cards. So there's all this communication going on where you're being like, oh, Mike is almost out of cards. We need to make sure that Mike is the one who finishes these rows to get these new 8 cards, and now Mike can play for 8 more turns. And then these kind of beings, these Eternals, go up into this other row, and they add more rules to the game that are going to kind of hinder you, and you can then appease them. It's one of the ways you can get the diamonds, and again, you need some diamonds. You need to get these little diamond tokens to finish this scenario. But then you move on to the next scenario, and it's completely different. You're doing all different kind of stuff. It's a really, really cool system. It's got this great like black and white look, but as you get these Eternal cards, they're these really beautiful, colorful cards. It's just got this really great look. It's got this big cloth board. It's wonderful. Eternal Decks is one of those games that, again, kind of like Old King's Crown, got this word of mouth going, and all of a sudden everyone wanted to play it, everyone wanted to see what it was all about, and it's really, really fun. I really hope they keep expanding it, because I think it's a great game, and just keep adding more levels, more scenarios, and I'll be happy. Okay, back to the 2 of us. Next up is one I really, really want to try. It's near the top of my want to try list. This would be World Order. World Order is, I think, hitting people's hands and stuff like that. We're at a kind of a retreat this last weekend, and they had it there, and I was like, ooh, maybe I'll try and play that. Didn't happen,
but yeah, I wanted to.
Yeah, we were really excited for that, because our dear friends Paula Deming and Matthew Jude played this game when it was out on crowdfunding and really, really liked it. And this is like not their kind of game. So we were really like, ooh, that's interesting. Paula and Matthew like this game. But this is made by the same people who made Hegemony, Lead Your Class to Victory, which
project.
Hegemonic project. And Hegemony was a huge game. Like, people love Hegemony. It's in the top 100. People love it, love it, love it. I always figured I wouldn't really like Hegemony that much, because it just doesn't seem like my kind of game. And we got to play it recently, and both of us loved it. I mean, absolutely adored it.
Is great.
And so I'm like, oh, I was already excited for World Order, but now that we've played Hegemony and really liked it, I'm even more excited for World Order.
Yeah.
But this is a game where you are taking on the role of kind of one of the big nations, like Russia, America, China, one of those things. Yeah. And you're basically trying to, kind of like in Hegemony, where you're basically taking a class and you want your class to do the best. This, you're kind of taking a nation, you want your nation to be doing the best. I don't think necessarily they play that similarly otherwise.
Yeah, there's the similarity of, now instead of classes, certain countries are going to have certain things they're good at and focuses. So if I remember correctly, like the U.S. and China are very economically powerful. Russia is not, but they're very militarily powerful.
Yes.
So you're kind of trying to use, your status, at least at the start of the game, as your nation to then kind of bend things to your will as you go. So it is kind of like Hegemony, but now on the world stage and kind of trying to shape the future of the planet. Again, Hegemony for us was a big surprise.
Huge.
Everyone else knew it was great, but we were just like, oh, we're not going to like it for some reason. I don't know why we were so convinced of that, but we loved it. So yeah, I got to think that this is going to satisfy in a similar way.
Yeah.
I'm really, really excited to try it. So hopefully, maybe BGG Spring or something, we can find someone as a copy. If you're at BGG Spring and you saw this video and you have that game, teach it to us. Next up is going to be a Nippon Zaibatsu, which is a redo of Nippon.
See, I always want to play. I've always heard such good things about it.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that, like I say classic. It's not like mega old or anything, but you know, from a few years ago. But now it's been spruced up with you know, some spruced up mechanisms, art and components. Obviously,
it looks
big
really
upgrade.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is centered in the Japanese Industrial Revolution. As you know, companies and industries are growing very quickly, and there's a lot of kind of money to be made and power to grab, and you are trying to influence the kind of direction of the future of the country, really. And you're going to be doing this by investing in different companies, industries that are cropping up. There's kind of like contract fulfillment. And you're deciding throughout the game what kinds of things are going to score you points. So obviously you want to tailor those things to the stuff that you've been doing. You want the stuff that you've been building to be the most valuable. And you're trying to kind of navigate that in this kind of area majority influence kind of game over Japan. So yeah, this is one that, you know, the component upgrades and things that have happened look really nice. Always excited for like a new edition of a game, especially if it's one that wasn't as available for a while because it hadn't had a printing. So excited to see this one get into people's hands and things, and hopefully we get a chance to try it ourselves, because it just feels like one that like, I think this one feels like one where like, I think we'll like it, and I feel like we just should have encountered it by now. It hasn't happened, but we're going to fix that soon.
Next up is the Dungeon Crawler Carl Unstoppable. Oh my God, I'm really excited for this. I'm
this excited.
Yeah, Mike's that excited.
Oh my gosh.
Love Unstoppable. It was one of my favorite games of last year. I love this system. I love playing Unstoppable. And now there's Dungeon Crawler Carl Unstoppable. I'm not gonna lie, it was a weird choice, but I am very much here for it.
It very much makes sense for this game system, though.
It kind of does, yeah. With this game where you are taking on a hero of some type, and you are going to be doing kind of card crafting, but you're basically going through this gauntlet of enemies where you're fighting enemies, but on the backside of all these enemy cards is one of your cards. So whenever you defeat an enemy, it flips over and goes directly into your hand. And that is pretty much the only way you draw cards in the game. Every round you will get a new card, kind of depending on what your level is. But that's the only like native card drawing in the game. All the other card drawing you get, you have to do by defeating enemies. So it's this really interesting puzzle of trying to figure out what to hit when. Can I get this card into my hand and then immediately use it to kill something else to get another card in my hand, and kind of keep it going like that. And you're basically trying to defeat this boss, and the boss are going to have lots of different stuff that they do. It's kind of one of the main ways they changed the game. So they decided to do a Dungeon Crawler Carl Unstoppable, which seems so weird, but the more I think about it, it makes more and more sense, because Dungeon Crawler Carl is, if you don't know about it, it's this huge series right now.
Yeah, book series.
Where essentially Carl gets stuck into this like sci-fi galactic spanning game show.
Yeah, so aliens are going through and forcing a game show on people, and basically they destroy Earth, and then the survivors are in a Hunger Games style,
basically,
survival of the fittest situation that uses a lot of like D&D type mechanisms and classes and things. So like the fact that it is board game adjacent in that way, that the book plays with the book, like RPG stuff.
Carl's coming across bosses and stuff. There's different characters, like
they're fighting through kind of different levels of baddies.
All these different enemies.
They are leveling up in the book. So like it really is a perfect thing to port into the Unstoppable system, where now you can play as Carl or Princess Donut, his ex-girlfriend's cat, who now is a crawler as well.
And is
in many ways much more
him.
powerful than Carl, which is great.
And from what we've kind of seen from a couple people who've covered this game, it basically seems to fix anything wrong with the original game.
I just think it takes it next level.
Yeah, it just kind of like makes the game way better. And I'm like, oh my God, I already love Unstoppable. I was already here on Unstoppable. Adding Dungeon Crawler Carl just makes it even higher. Yeah, so now there's kind of like different levels, which there's levels in the game in Dungeon Crawler Carl that you're going through. And now you can kind of play, over a few plays, level up your character, get classes and race abilities and things like that. I'm super duper excited. Because again, Unstoppable is already fantastic, and throwing this IP on top of it is, again, makes perfect sense. I'm so excited. In the campaign for the Dungeon Crawler Carl Unstoppable and RPG, which, is definitely exciting. Makes sense,
It's been very successful.
Yeah, they've done just fine. Just fine. Nonetheless, that is the Hotness. Let us know what you think down in the comments below about those games or all of the Hotness. What we do at the end of the hotness, we always talk about the 10 most played games of the month. These are the games that got logged the most on BGG. So make sure to log your plays because you can affect this list.
Do it.
So number 10, Mikey, is going to be Azul, which has 6,073. Number 9 is The Gang. Did The Gang move on to BGA?
Yes, it did.
That's why. I was
The
like...
Gang is on BGA now. Board Game Arena, for those who don't know.
I was like, it must be on BGA because it has never been on this list before. So The Gang has 6,098 rather. Then Wingspan has 7,382.
Right.
Harmonies has 7,798. Castle Combo has 8,296.
Wow.
Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game has 8,726.
That is wild.
Arc Nova has 8,918. Take Time has 9,623.
Also newly on BGA, so that is going to skyrocket.
Is that new on BGA?
Yes.
Oh, wow, because it's been on this list for a while, so that's just
without it being on BGA. That's a game where you play multiple rounds. Now it's on Board Game Arena, it's going to fire up the charts.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Bomb Busters is number 2 with 12,110. And number 1, as always, probably going to be here for a very, very long time. It's going to be Flip 7,
Yep.
with 13,592. It is almost always 1,000 or a couple thousand above the next one.
It's
so playable.
It's so
it's just,
playable,
yes,
man.
it's just so quick.
You can accommodate anybody and everyone, play huge groups. It is just so easy to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And speaking of flipping stuff, how about you flip into this ad read?
My Murph pick is going to be, yet again, a 3D printed things. I think 3D printed stuff is very, very cool, and I love how nerdy and fun board gamers get. And this is going to be a 3D printed insert by Chris Forrest for Eternal Decks. Eternal Decks is this really, really cool game. We talked about it during the hotness. It's got this great look. The only kind of like downside of Eternal Decks is it is a bit of a setup. There's a lot of different kinds of cards. There are all these different separate little decks, and it can be kind of a pain to set up and take down. But this insert helps with that a lot. But on top of that, this insert with all the kind of card, all the different kind of decks are like, the insert's like interconnected and it can like splay open. It's really, really cool looking. Probably not all that necessary in terms of like from a logistical standpoint, but like, hey, if you can have some flair along with your function, why the heck not? I love 3D printed stuff. I love 3D printed inserts. It's great. I love going on a Thingiverse and be like, oh, I wonder if there's an insert for Gaia Project, which is one we did recently. And yeah, there's a great insert for Gaia Project. I love this Eternal Decks insert. It's so, so cool. Chris did a great job. And again, that little bit of a flare of it opened up like a flower. Ooh, that's hot.
So Nick talked about a 3D printed thing. I also want to talk about a 3D printed thing because I think it's super duper cool. This is from Kyo Spirit, who made a all-in-one 3D printed Marvel Champions box that is also a stand that you can use while you play. So it's a hyper-functional insert. The best inserts, of course, help your games go into the box nice and neat and stuff. And if it, if it can be used in-game as storage and stuff like that, even better. This one goes next level. You've got a token holder. You've got stands to put, who you're fighting, what they're doing, what they're scheming on. You can have spots for dice to use as counters and things like that. There's this like banner system that you can use for like effects, status effects that are happening to you and stuff. It's super duper cool. It also gives you space to put 6 fully sleeved kind of hero packs in the box at once. So this isn't like an all-in storage solution for everything for Marvel Champions. I don't know if that exists. There's a lot of content for this game, but this is a really cool situation that helps you play the game itself and then also put it back nice and neat. I just think it's really rad, and it makes me want to find someone who has Marvel Champions stuff and just be able to make this and see it in action. I want to hand it over and be like, can you set it up, please? Because I can stare at it.
So at the end of the video, we always like to pick our personal favorite game or gameplay experience of the month. Mikey, why don't you hit him?
We had the wonderful opportunity to go to Iceland to play board games.
That's really the best of the month, was going to Iceland for a little board game retreat, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
So check out Spillevin in the future if ever you're in Iceland.
Yeah.
But I got a chance to finally play Recall
Yes. I did too. I was
which is a follow. Yeah, that's my pick.
It's Mark's pick.
Which is kind of like a follow-up to Revive.
Yes.
Same people, different kind of game, but similarly, you are kind of exploring this land and building buildings, kind of coming into contact with these ancient civilizations who are kind of, advanced and have these gizmos and things. And so you are going to be using these keys to do essentially action selection on your player board. And this is going to allow you to, put people out on the map, move them around, build those buildings, like I said, but then those keys, as they're called, can be upgraded so that the key itself has actions and things that it can give you. You are, like digging and mining these resources. There's all these ways you can kind of score points. You're also going up these 3 technology tracks that are representative of you kind of interacting and learning from these ancient civilizations. This is just like a game where you could like really make a hybrid build and kind of engine for yourself that was super duper cool. So you're getting all these little bonuses and goodies along the way.
Yeah,
Something I really want to play again. I really, really enjoyed it a lot. So that's my pick is Recall.
Yeah, it was very, very good. My pick is going to be Cold Baron. This is not a new game at all. It's like 13 years old. There was a newer version that came out.
Yeah.
But this was
the
kind
OG,
of,
didn't you?
I did play the OG version. Yeah, the new version is nice, but the OG is fine, honestly. We have the OG version, stuff like that. And this is always kind of like my go-to, like, I'm going to grab like a Player's Wanted sign at like something like a BGG con, which you definitely go to. It's kind of my go-to game because it's pretty easy to teach.
You have done this several times with Cold Baron.
Specifically with Cold Baron. It's a game that always goes over well with everyone. It's also a game that a lot of people haven't tried. So people are always like, oh, what's this game? And then it teaches in like maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it's like a 45-minute to an hour game. It's super snappy and it's incredible. This is a game where you are a coal baron. You're trying to get coal. So you're basically building out these tunnels, getting these different colors of coal, which kind of have different values. And you're getting these order cards, basically. And then you have to get the coal onto these order cards. But you have it through this really interesting mine shaft system where you have your mine board and you have different layers, of your coal. And you have this little mine shaft thing that you have to like move down, then move coal onto it, then move it back to the top, and then move them onto the kind of order cards. It's really, really good. It's really fun. Like I said, this game is like a 10-minute teach. It's super, super easy to play. But it's by Kramer and Kiesling, so it's got a lot of great strategy. It's worker placement, but there's no blocking. If you want to go to a spot, you can go there, but you have to put more workers than the previous person put there.
I love that.
It's just so good. I love Cold Baron. If you see me at BGG Con, I'll always teach it. Let me know. It's great.
That's it for us, everybody. Check out those games from the Hotness. Let us know what games you're personally interested in right now, whether they're games that you recently got or playing, rediscovering old classics like Cold Baron. Get all those in the comments below, and we'll see y'all next month.
Bye, everybody.